This is Bloomberg Surveillance on Bloomberg Radio.
Our next guest is all over that. David Liu, he's a co-founder and CEO of Plus. David, thanks so much for joining us here. Could you talk to us about the autonomous truck? Where are we in the development of this part of the automobile fleet?
David Powell, thank you for having me here. So in terms of industry development, we've been working on powering autonomous trucks and enabling that for the past decade. And we're on the cusp of actually commercializing autonomous truck in actual operations in the United States as well as Europe. We're starting to see some of the driverless vehicles running in many of our cities, but having these trucks running on the highways and transporting goods will be happening in the next few years.
You know, we've seen in cities like San Francisco, Waymo with driverless taxis basically on the streets. What does the piloting process look like for driverless trucks? Are we going to see them in certain cities, in certain parts of the country? So what's that rollout going to be like?
Yeah, so Plus has been working on this for the past 8 years. We've started the company in 2016 to enable autonomous trucks on the roads. Today, we're conducting testing and pilot testing in Texas, here in the United States, as well as in Sweden in Europe.
Who are some of your partners here as you look to develop this? Somebody's got to actually make the truck.
Yeah, so this year, 2024, has been a banner year for Plus. We've announced a few partnerships, global partnership with 3 of the global truck manufacturers. One is Volkswagen's TRATON Group. They are one of the largest truck manufacturers in the world, including a Scania brand, the MAN brand in Germany, as well as international brand in the US. We also announced a partnership with Hyundai's commercial group, as well as IVECO. These are 3 of the largest global truck OEMs in the world. And we know there are about 5 to 6 large truck OEMs that are powering all of the trucks on the roads here today in the US as well as in Europe. And we have 3 of the top global manufacturers that are having us being the technology provider for them.
David, speak to the skeptics in the audience who wonder why we need to have autonomous trucks, why there's a need for these to be on the road. Just explain sort of what benefits they offer and sort of how it stands to sort of reshape transportation logistics in the United States and in Europe as well.
Yeah, so transportation is one of the most important and largest industry in the US. 70% of the goods we use and consume every day are transported by trucks. And we also have a pretty severe driver shortage for the industry. By ATS statistics, we have about 80,000 driver shortage in the US. So to be able to supply that much transportation capacity as well as making trucking a safer occupation, automation is the technology to make that happen. And we've been working on this for the past decade, and the industry has actually been working on this for the past few decades. And we're finally getting the technology ready to actually be able to help the industry to provide safer and more efficient transportation.
David, what powers these autonomous trucks? Internal combustion engines, electric vehicle? What's the powertrain here?
Yeah, so we support both the traditional ICE internal combustion engine vehicles as well as the new EV vehicles, EV trucks. So, in terms of the trucks that we can help make them autonomous, we're actually powertrain agnostic. Majority of the trucks running on the roads today are ICE powered, but we're starting to see a slow transition moving over to electric trucks over time.
I wonder if you could just talk a bit about the computing power that's required here. You've been at this for a while, and maybe you could just talk about some of the challenges that you faced and sort of where we are in the evolution of this technology, sort of what the first big hurdle was and sort of how close we are, you think, to this being something that's very normal, very regular for those of us on the roads.
Yeah, so we have seen a tremendous improvement on computing power over the past few decades, past 20 years. When I studied engineering, when I was in school, this was a dream, right? But the computing power wasn't there to be able to to do all the processing that's required for the AI technology to be actually being used. We can run some of these algorithms in data centers, but not on trucks. But over the last 10 years, especially with the improvement on computing power, we're seeing this new AI revolution that's happening. And the computing power that can reside in vehicles today can rival that of a large computer server just 10 years ago. So we're able to run these very sophisticated AI models in the vehicle to be able to process all the information, all the data streams that are coming in from cameras, radars, lidars. And that's the reason we're able to run these vehicles safer than an average human driver.
David, in terms of developing and deploying this autonomous driving technology, do you expect any change, either better or worse, from this new administration coming in January?
Yeah, so right now, many of the states or most of the states are very supportive running autonomous driving operations, including Texas, and most of the Sunbelt states are very supportive of that. But we do hope that the incoming administration will be providing even more of a regulation kind of support to be able to provide the federal level regulation support. That would be very helpful to actually accelerate the development of autonomous trucks on the roads.
We're talking with David Liu, the CEO and co-founder of Plus. And David, I'm curious, when we talk about regulation here, who are the regulators with whom you're interfacing? I imagine that there are many, so maybe just not transportation, but other government agencies as well. Who are the principal regulators? And I'm curious, as you've been through this evolution, this build, sort of how much they're talking to one another, how much they have kind of a holistic grasp on the way your technology works.
Yeah, so we interact with both the federal level administrators as well as state level. So both the Department of Transportation as well as some of the other agencies, including FMCSA, that are the regulators for our industry. And we work with both of them on different levels. And with the new administration, we're hoping that on the federal level, we'll have a consistent regulatory support for this type of new technology.
David, I'm thinking of some of the big trucking companies. I'll just say like Amazon, because I see the Amazon trucks everywhere now. They're all over every city, USA. What do the Amazons of the world say about something like this?
Amazon is actually one of our customer and partners that we've been working with them for over the last few years. And they're very supportive and very visionary in terms of looking at utilizing technology to help make the road safer and more efficient. Today, we're helping them to convert many of their existing trucks to be equipped with technology to be drive safer and make it easier for drivers to operate in. And in the future, as I see, in the coming years, we hopefully will be able to provide them more transportation capacity, some of them with automated trucks.
David, thanks so much for joining us. David Liu, co-founder and CEO of Plus, doing on the autonomous trucks. And having worked in covering the transportation industry on Wall Street, covering a lot of the trucking companies, it's for as long as I've been covering them, for 40 years, they've always had a driver shortage.
Interesting. I mean, that's not a new phenomenon.
The turnover is almost 100% every single year. It's a tough life, and it's really a challenge for the industry, particularly when the economy is good and jobs are plentiful. Then it's tough to get the truckers out there. So maybe this is a solution. They've been talking about it for a long time. With our news in New York City.